Hey, welcome. And today we're going to speak on conditioning our bodies to be at its optimal performance. And basically, we're just talking about how we can condition our bodies. You see, our bodies were not meant to just sit or just be sedentary for a long time. We tend to just, especially these days, we tend to just sit around and do nothing basically with our bodies. We don't exercise. Most of us, at least, don't exercise. We don't even move about, right? And because a lot of things are actually made easier these days, we don't even have to go outside and do our own shopping. We can just call in people, bring us food, bring us our shopping and stuff like that. We tend to get a bit sedentary and become a bit lazy. And since our bodies were not meant to be that way, it's only safe to say that we can actually condition ourselves to be at our optimal, which means that we can focus on things that, or exercises and training that we are likely to be able to do in a regular basis, and that can actually be sustainable. And then once we get those sort of training or exercises that we can choose, and means that we can just be able to be at our optimal condition, and thus making our bodies become much more effective. And it will take a long time for us to deteriorate physically, right? And so, with that said, here are a few things, a few pointers on what we can focus on as we condition our bodies to be optimal. So, number one, the obvious, let's start with the elephant in the room, and that's regular exercises. And of course, being optimal as a man or as a woman, if you want to be optimal in your performance, in any sort of performance, that is mostly at least, you have to be physically fit, which of course means that you have to do regular exercises. Now, when you when we speak on exercises, right, it doesn't mean that you have to be always performing high reps and high sets and heavy loads of weight, right? Simple things such as your body weight, right? Cardio like walking, running, jogging, simply walking. That's that in the regular, by the way, just regular walks, right? If you can at least walk once, twice a week, right? Depending, of course, on how, the frequency, on how many times you walk. Duration of 30 to 40 to an hour, right, each week, right? I think that can actually get you in a very, very good physical place, right? So you can also incorporate things that are well balanced, a mix of cardio, strength training, flexibility, and all those sort of small exercises that can actually keep your body moving in a regular. So I'd suggest you create a training routine, right, that you can adhere to, right, be sustainable in the long run. For example, when in my routine, right, my exercise routine, which I've been having and I'm always refining, right, I've been refining it for at least 3 years now, right. I started out doing exercises 4 times a week, but that was not sustainable, right. Then I trimmed it down. Now, at least 3-4 years later, I'm only doing it twice a week. However, I also have in between, I rest and I do very light exercises towards the end of the week, and that is a bit sustainable because my body is able to sustain that. I do not really I can sustain the fatigue, right, because during the weekend it's rest, so twice a week, right, maybe Mondays and Fridays I do some it's just body weight. So you can see this is very sustainable. I don't really do much heavy weight except for maybe a few dumbbells and kettlebells, right? Then I do a bit of cardio and that's it. So keeping fit, it does not need to be complex. All it has to or all you have to do is make sure you're doing it in a regular basis, something that's sustainable, and then that can keep you basically consistent. That's it. So you don't have to have some complex, you don't even have to go to the gym and have some complex training routine that would just keep you on the treadmill doing a whole lot of things, and that sort of thing brings complexity because now all you're doing is getting fatigued, you get injured, and you may give up on the way. Yeah, and moving on to the next point, number 2, proper nutrition. Of course, this is the second point, and it's very, very important that you eat well, very balanced diet. Now, there's a lot of information out there. Should warn you, because people actually eat different things, and different things work for different people, especially if the person has a certain training routine. That sort of diet will work for him or her. For example, there's a fad now that most people eat one meal a day. Well, one meal a day is okay, but then again, it won't work for everyone because it depends on your daily activities. If you work out a lot and you still have to go to work and you still have to do a lot of other errands, one meal a day will not sustain you because you still need a lot of energy, and it means that you may have to eat more than one meal a day, right? Even if you're going to eat one big meal, still it's not going to be that sustainable because depending on your digestive system, right, you may have to maybe cut down a lot of the work that you have to do, because remember, you still have to rest between those meals, that meal, and you may get lethargic and all that. So basically, it's best to know your training routine and maybe also consult a dietitian who can help you in this, tell you what sort of food you're supposed to eat, how many times a day you're supposed to eat, because that has to coincide with your training. If you're a heavy trainer, you may have to have a lot of calories in your diet, right? Especially if maybe you're also trying to gain muscles, you may also have to have a lot of protein, right? So one meal a day may not really work. So that's why we should be very careful when we're listening to these sort of advice, right? You have to know what will actually work for you, and it's best to also do your own research. Okay, number 3 is adequate rest. You need that rest, especially if you're training hard and maybe you want to reach a certain goal, right? Maybe you want to lose weight or you want to gain muscles, all that sort of training, right? And you already have your routine. So if you do like 3 times a day or 3 times a week, 4 times a week, you're doing that exercise, you need time to rest. Your body needs to recoup, and you should remember that a lot of the times the muscles that we gain, we mostly gain them when we're resting. You're not gaining muscles when in the gym. What you're doing, you're tearing up your muscles when you're in the gym so that they can recoup, and then you gain those muscles. And then that's only done with when you're actually eating proper nutrition, but also when you're having enough rest. And yeah, basically that's what happens. So enough rest repairs your body, and your body is able to recover. And number four is hydration. Now hydration is another trick one, because as I was doing my research, sometimes you find other findings that they tell you that you shouldn't drink a lot of water, and a lot of it does make sense because if you drink a lot of water, right, depending of course on how much water you're drinking, you sometimes tend to flush out the micronutrients, especially if you have eaten a meal right after exercising. Your body needs those nutrients to absorb those nutrients, and once you drink too much water, the water then tends to flush out those nutrients from your bloodstream. So it also depends on the individual, right? So yes, some people may need, I don't know, 8 cups of water, whatever, but some people do not need that much. So you need to know what category you fit in, because sometimes when we just drink some fruit juices or even tea, that's enough. That's enough to hydrate someone. Not every person is necessarily hydrated with water. Sometimes just tea, coffee. Remember, that's still liquid, so you're just hydrated, right? So know what category you fit in. Sometimes you may not need a lot of water, right? Sometimes a lot of water is actually dangerous. So make sure you know the amount of hydration you may need. And number 5, managing stress. Now, this was a big one because for a long time, a lot of us, we tend not to be able to do this, managing stress. But a few techniques that can help is meditation, deep things like deep breathing, yoga, where you stretch, and just make sure that you're just moving your body in a light way. Meditation, like I usually say, is very individualistic. Some people meditate like the way Buddha would meditate. Some would just go into prayer. There's still meditation. Some would just be breathing on their own, and all sort of things. You just need to make sure you're doing things that work for you, basically. But make sure you're meditating so that you can manage your stress. Number 6, and this one usually we tend to really neglect, and that's listening to our bodies. We have to be able to do this. We have to be able to learn how to listen. You see, sometimes our body tries to tell us something, but because we want to consistently do things, we have to do things. We find that we need to do things because we have set goals, which is good, by the way, nothing wrong with that. But sometimes our bodies have to take a step back, relax, to recover. No matter how much we have to do, sometimes we may even have deadlines, but you have to choose between those deadlines and your health. Once your body is telling you that it needs rest, it needs to recover, it's best to listen. So which means that you have to pay attention to things like signs. You do get those signs like fatigue, your tiredness and all that, so that sometimes you don't even have to stop. You just take a step back at your routine and then come back and do what you had prepared to do. So listen to your body. If you're fatigued, make sure you're doing the right thing by resting. And the last point, which correlates to this, is just to take things easy. Times you have to take things easy. At times we're just too anxious. We want results fast because we've put on the work. Sometimes we work hard, no doubt. A lot of us, we work hard, we put in the work. The thing is that once we are too anxious to see results, and we tend to get stressed, and that's another thing that triggers a lot of anxiety and stress, because we want to see things happen fast. We want to get to the finish line when we're not there yet. We'll just have to take things easy, let things manifest, let things happen, because you believe you've put enough work. But this goes out to those who have actually put in the work. They've worked hard, they've hit their goals, they've done things the best that they can do, and then things do happen slowly at times. You may have to be patient. So take things easy, take a step back. Maybe if you've been, for example, you've been working hard on your training, right? You've been working hard hitting those sets, reps, right? Squatting, deadlifting and all. Sometimes just take a step back, and then gradually you can get back into the routine. Just take things slowly, and then you can get back into the rhythm of things, making sure your body gets used to the to the rhythm that you are into, because you are taking a rest. Now you want to go back into that rhythm. Take things slowly, take things easy. Can't just go back to the gym and start hitting the same reps that you were hitting, or trying to hit higher than those. Just take things easy, and that's it. I'm gonna stop there. Thanks for listening. Until next time, and peace.